Subcommittee will come to order. The chair will recognize himself for an opening statement, and I do want to welcome everyone to today's subcommittee markup on three legislative proposals: H.R. 985, the Concrete Masonry Products Research, Education, and Promotion Act of 2015, introduced by Representative Guthrie, the E-Warranty Act of 2015, sponsored by Representative Mullen, and the Child Nicotine Poisoning Prevention Act of 2015. I ask unanimous consent to have my opening statement placed into the record. Without objection, so ordered. I yield back my time and recognize the gentlelady from Illinois for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate holding today's markup on three different but important pieces of legislation. Glad that we've gotten to a point where each of these bills will receive broad bipartisan support. 2 weeks ago, we held a hearing on H.R. 985, the Concrete Masonry Products Research, Education, and Promotion Act. As I said then, I have heard from contractors, workers, and my colleagues about the importance of a concrete masonry checkoff program. I want to promote all of the benefits of a concrete masonry checkoff while avoiding the pitfalls we've seen in earlier checkoff programs, such as PRC and NORA. With the changes in the manager's amendment, we can better ensure that this program is effective in terms of both management and oversight. I thank Representative Guthrie, Castor, and others who have fought for this bill and for their willingness to incorporate those changes. We will also consider a discussion draft of the Child Nicotine Poisoning Prevention Act, a bill to improve the safety of liquid nicotine packages. This would create an important safeguard for children who are most at risk for ingesting liquid nicotine packages that can poison and even kill. I thank Representative Elizabeth Esty for her leadership on this. It's important that this bill doesn't undermine any other protections being considered regarding liquid nicotine packaging. I appreciate the majority's willingness to include language that clarifies the authority of the Department of Health and Human Services and the Food and Drug Administration to act in this area. The last bill we will mark up is the E-Warranty Act, legislation to provide consumers with online access to product warranties. This legislation would bring warranties into the 21st century, recognizing that an estimated 1 in 7 Americans are still without regular internet access. The rulemaking established by this bill will ensure that consumers can also get warranties in paper form when they purchase a product. I thank the chairman for holding this markup, and I look forward to sending these bills to the full committee for consideration. And at this point, I'd like to yield to Representative Kennedy.
Thank you very much, Ranking Member, and I want to thank the chairman of the subcommittee as well, Dr. Burgess, for calling the important hearing and for having calling these three bills up. I wanted to add my voice in support of the Child Nicotine Poisoning Prevention Act, legislation that has been championed by my colleague from New England, Congresswoman Elizabeth Esty, through her time here in Congress. The dangers of liquid nicotine are real, especially when children are able to open its containers with ease. This bill would provide critical safeguards in packaging that would protect those kids from accessing bottles that include flavors like cotton candy and bubblegum with colors that are even more enticing. I thank Chairman Burgess and Upton for providing a path forward on this bill, as well as the Ranking Member Pallone and Schakowsky for their leadership on this issue, and I look forward to the passage to the committee. Thanks very much. I yield back.
And does the gentlelady yield back time?
Oh, I'm sorry. And I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady yields back. The chair recognizes the vice chairwoman of the full committee, the gentlelady from Tennessee, Ms. Blackburn. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to commend those that are bringing the bills forward today, and my only comment is to take this opportunity to recognize the Concrete Industry Management Program at Middle Tennessee State University. We discussed this during the hearing. This is a program that I helped to begin when I was in the state Senate in Tennessee. It has done a stellar job in education in that industry, and we look forward to the checkoff program. With that, I yield my time back to the chairman.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Gentlelady yields back. The chair now recognizes the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Pallone. 5 minutes for your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today we're marking up three bills: the Concrete Masonry Products Research, Education, and Promotion Bill, the Child Nicotine Poisoning Prevention Act, and the E-Warranty Act. H.R. 985 would establish the Concrete Masonry Products Board that would require the collection of small fees from manufacturers of concrete masonry products to fund programs and activities that would promote the concrete masonry industry and educate consumers about the benefits of concrete masonry products. As I mentioned at the hearing, we've heard some concerns regarding this bill. However, I'm pleased with the progress that has been made and won't be opposing its passage today. And I want to thank Chairman Upton, Chairman Burgess, Ranking Member Schakowsky, and the bill's authors, Mr. Guthrie and Ms. Castor, for working with me so diligently to address many of the concerns we heard. In particular, a manager's amendment will be offered that will ensure fairness within the industry by giving manufacturers an equal say in the creation of the program and the terms of the order establishing the program. Amendment will also increase accountability by requiring the board to establish goals of the program and then conduct evaluations of whether the board met those goals. In addition, the amendment will ensure that this new check-off program does not adversely affect others in the construction product industry by requiring the Department of Commerce to conduct a study on whether a more comprehensive program similar to the program operated through the Department of Agriculture can be feasibly established at Commerce. Second, we are also considering a draft bill that would require liquid nicotine containers to be child-proof, enforced by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. This bill is similar to one introduced by Representative Esty both in this and last Congress, and she should be commended for her efforts to raise awareness of this issue. Poisoning by liquid nicotine is on the rise and must be addressed. This increase in poisonings parallel the rise in the use of electronic cigarettes and other electronic nicotine delivery systems, also an issue that's troubling and should be addressed. Again, thank Chairman Burgess and Upton for working with us to draft on this draft to ensure that it's moving through the committee process does not adversely affect the current and important work that is occurring at the FDA on the same issue of requiring child-proof packaging of e-liquid or e-juice. As child-proof packaging requirements for e-liquid make its way through the legislative process, I look forward to hearing from the CPSC and the FDA about how best to deal with a possible concurrent jurisdiction. And third and finally, we'll consider the E-Warranty Act of 2015 introduced by Representatives Mullen and Loebsack. This bipartisan bill will help modernize the rules regarding pre-sale warranty notice. The bill directs the FTC to amend its current rules on warranty notice to allow the pre-sale notice requirements to be fulfilled by making warranty info available online. I support this common sense proposal. However, I'd like to highlight one point that the bill rightly acknowledges, that there are many consumers and small business owners without internet access. While this bill requires that contact info of the product manufacturers be made available, I ask my colleagues to work with me to ensure that the FTC requires consumers be provided with a toll-free phone number and warrantors respond to non-internet requests for free and in a timely manner. Moreover, I expect that when the FTC changes its rules pursuant to this bill, it will maintain the protections that currently exist for consumers and small business owners who do not have internet access, including requiring manufacturers to ensure sellers can fulfill their obligations under the bill and under the rules. And again, we look forward to continuing to work with our colleagues on all these measures, and I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The chair thanks the gentleman. The gentleman yields back. The chair reminds members that pursuant to committee rules, all members' opening statements will be made part of the record. Are there further opening statements? Are there requests for time on the Republican side? Requests for time on the Democratic side? Seeing none, this will conclude the opening statements. The chair calls up H.R. 985 and asks the clerk to report.
H.R. 985, to enable concrete masonry products manufacturers to establish, finance, and carry out a coordinated program of research, education, and promotion to improve, maintain, and develop markets for concrete masonry products.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with, and the bill will be open for amendment at any point. So ordered. The chair recognizes Mr. Guthrie for the purpose of offering a bipartisan amendment to the nature of a substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will report.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 985, offered by Mr. Guthrie and Mr. Butterfield.
Without objection, the reading of the amendment is dispensed with, and the gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes in support of the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to offer this amendment in the nature of a substitute for Concrete Masonry Products Research, Education, Promotion Act of 2015. H.R. 985, of which I'm proud to co-author with Congresswoman Kathy Castor, has always benefited from strong bipartisan support. So along with Ms. Castor, I'd like to thank Chairman Burgess for all of his help, assistance, Ms. Schakowsky for her work, and a special thanks to Mr. Butterfield, who's co-sponsoring today. This bill would create a commodity research and education program for concrete masonry products that would allow for nationwide cooperation and accelerated job growth. Every state in the country is home to concrete masonry products or contractors. I know that most of my colleagues in this room, if not all, have been visited by concrete masonry producers or contractors from their congressional districts. These are small, usually locally owned businesses that are greatly entwined with their communities. By allowing block producers to pool their resources, manufacturers and the community will benefit from greater energy efficiency, increased safety, and additional marketing options. This bipartisan job-creating bill is a long time coming, and I'm hopeful that today we will have cleared the way for moving this legislation forward. Again, I would like to thank Ms. Castor for all of her work and dedication. Mr. Chairman, I greatly appreciate you making time on the schedule for this bill to move forward. I must thank the committee staffs from both sides for all their work, and particularly for my staff, Joel Miller, who spent countless hours working with a lot of people to make sure, including late into yesterday, that this bill is ready for today. And finally, the industry supporters who have made effort to visit and educate their members of Congress. So I thank you so much. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment and the bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Gentleman yields back. Is there further discussion on the amendment? If there is no further discussion, the vote will occur on the amendment in the nature of a substitute. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to. The question now occurs on forwarding H.R. 985 as amended to the full committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. The bill is favorably reported, and the bill is agreed to. The chair now calls up H.R. 3154, entitled the E-Warranty Act of 2015, and asks the clerk to report.
H.R. 3154, to allow manufacturers to meet warranty and labeling requirements for consumer products by displaying the terms of warranties on Internet websites and for other purposes.
Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with, and the bill will be open for amendment at any point. So ordered. Are there bipartisan amendments to the bill? Are there? The gentleman from Oklahoma, do you seek to be recognized?
I can be if I need to talk on it. If I don't need to talk on it, we're good to go.
The chair appreciates the gentleman's observation. The question now occurs on forwarding the committee print to the full committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the bill is favorably reported. The chair asks unanimous consent that the subcommittee adopt and favorably forward to the full committee the committee print entitled Child Nicotine Poisoning Prevention Act of 2015 with the amendment in the nature of a substitute filed 22nd July and time-stamped July 22, 2015, 11:10 a.m. The clerk will report. No, okay, without objection, so ordered. Without objection, the staff is authorized to make technical and conforming changes to the legislation approved by the subcommittee today. So ordered. Without objection, the subcommittee stands adjourned.